Welcome back all to the F1 2018 career mode, and you join me for the finale of Season 1, where we're driving still in the Force India for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Like I say, the finale of Season 1 of this career mode. It's had its ups, it's had its downs. We started in the Williams and did the first 8 rounds in the Williams, signing on for that team as the Mercedes reserve driver, but after a string of excellent results and quite frankly an insulting contract from Williams, we moved over to the Force India team, where we have been on a surge of momentum, just strong positive results. We were taken out, of course, at our home Grand Prix, didn't get any points there, but other than that, it's been a very strong season. We have secured 7th in the Drivers' World Championship. Our objective for this weekend is to get our teammate Sergio Perez into 8th in the Drivers' World Championship, to get 7-8 for Force India. And then we are hoping to, or we have already rather, secured 4th in the Constructors' Championship. So, been a successful season so far. Been a really good season for us as a team. And I have been saving up loads of points to be able to do a big old winter upgrade package for the team heading into to Season 2, as we're going to be signing on and staying with Force India for the following season. However, there were some developments after the last race. We were the 4th best team at that point. Renault have bought a massive upgrade and surged well ahead of us, right in the middle between Haas, who are now the 5th fastest team, and Mercedes, who have dropped down to 3rd. Haas also have bought a very strong upgrade and have just squeaked ever so slightly ahead of us. Now, Williams have sort of plateaued, and Toro Rosso have caught up to them in regards to being the 7th or 8th fastest team there. And McLaren and Sauber very close to each other now in relation to the performance of the cars. So a final spanner in the works for me trying to get Perez, who is currently equal on points with Hülkenberg, up into 8th in the Drivers' Championship, considering their car now coming in is going to be that much better than ours. But nonetheless, into qualifying, and I've never been the biggest fan of the Abu Dhabi circuit, but we do have the Hypersoft tyres, and let's see if that changes anything. The issue I always have on this track is tyre wear, and the fact that even at around 20% the tyres feel like they have horribly gone off. But so far our delta wasn't brilliant through the chicane. It has improved though on exit, and we get a much better exit, or initially we got a better exit on the chicane versus what we did on our last qualifying lap. Currently P12, we're not too far down on our delta, and I would assume we've got loads of bits on the lap where we can make an improvement, braking just before the 100-metre board, bring it in nicely, then swing it back out wide for the second part of the chicane, and we've gone up on the delta. We've hampered our acceleration getting on the curb, and that's going to drop our delta to below, or just even actually, as we come through to the end of Sector 2. So we've got not a lot of time to make up as much time as possible. We're 1.2 down on current provisional pole time, as we're sort of taking some liabilities with track limits just there on this qualifying lap. At 2/10 up now as we come through the final sector, through the long double right-hander, and then on the brakes to try and get it slowed down for the 90-degree right. We do miss the apex, but just keep the car on circuit, then swing to the left, bring as much momentum through as you can. That curb can pop you off and put you in the wall, which thankfully didn't happen. Not a big improvement with only 2 corners left to go, extending the track once again. I think we've got enough ERS though, whereas we run out on the last lap up towards the line. 2/10 improvement only jumps us up to P11 for qualifying here for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Vettel is on pole from Hamilton, Raikkonen, Verstappen, Ricciardo. Perez in P6, still ahead of both Renaults. Excellent drive. Bottas, unfortunately, down in 9th, and Grosjean rounds out the top 10. We are in 11th, just ahead of Alonso, Hartley, and Magnussen. So even though the Haas have got the upgrade, a 6/10 difference between the 2 Haas drivers. So Magnussen clearly not performing in qualifying for whatever reason. Then you've got Gasly, Stroll, Van Dorn, Leclerc, Sirotkin, and Ericsson round out the grid for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
So here we are, ready to go racing for one final time this year. Another season of victories, controversies and rivalries lies in our wake. And just one challenge remains here in the United Arab Emirates on a circuit that made its spectacular debut back in 2009. Welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The drivers will be racing here on Yas Island today through 21 corners and a lap distance of around 3.4 miles. There are plenty of opportunities to pass, with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, at turns 8 and at turn 11. Plenty of close racing then, plenty of speed, and plenty of drama to be found in the laps to come. We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Kimi Raikkonen completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hülkenberg, Sainz, the captain, and Hartley, Verstappen. They've taken a grid penalty. Gasly, Ricciardo, and Sergio Perez. Hamilton, Leclerc, Sergei Sirotkin, and Magnussen. Bottas, Ericsson, Fernando Alonso, and Roman Grosjean. Van Dorn and Lance Stroll rounds off the grid.
Well, as you can see, the grid got pretty topsy-turvy after all those grid penalties at the final race of the season. So as such, we're going to find ourselves in P5. Annoyingly, both Renaults ahead of me. Perez's grid penalty wasn't too severe, though. He's down in 10th. I'm hoping he can find some of that pace that he definitely had in qualifying to come back through the field. We're going to go for the one stop. The benefit we have here of qualifying outside the top 10, we can start on the ultra soft tyre, a fresh set of ultras, whereas everyone that was in the top 10 is going to have to run on used hypersoft, as we have 5 red lights at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Lights are out and away we go. We're going to bog down off the start as our tyres are hard and all the cars around us. Verstappen on those hypersofts got a brilliant launch, and Hartley goes down into P4 temporarily and keeps it out of turn 1, but then slows down ahead of Carlos Sainz. That enables me to sneak through on the left-hand side, understeer through with the cold tyres, and Hülkenberg is attacking Vettel for P2 into the chicane. Raikkonen leads the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and the championship, I believe, is still actually up for decision, so this could have implications on which Ferrari man is leading, could have implications on who wins the title, but out of the hairpin, we're up to rich and hot lap mode to try and keep ahead of Brendan Hartley, who's in our slipstream. Thankfully, that Honda engine is no match for the Mercedes power unit that we have in the back of our car, and we retain P4 coming through the chicane for the first time, but that is going to be the prime overtaking spot of the Grand Prix. We're now cut on to lap 2, and it looks as if Sainz is now up behind us. There's a yellow flag behind. Sainz got through versus the Toro Rosso and the Red Bull. He's been on a bit of a charge after getting slowed down initially at the start. He's tried to go down my inside through the left chicane, but Sainz unable to find his way through. Pinched himself too much on the exit. We take the bollard off the apex of the corner there, and yeah, these ultra soft tyres not really switching on at the start of the Grand Prix. Hülkenberg has dropped back from the Ferraris. He's only a little bit down the road from us, thankfully, but at the end of the day, we are on a better strategy. They are definitely going to have to do a 2-stop versus us on the 1. Speaking of that, Sainz is on our outside into the chicane. That will change to the inside, so we just drift the car wide. It compromises our run through the second part of the corner, but it meant Sainz couldn't come through, and we ran just wide enough so he wasn't actually able to get any kind of acceleration versus us that time around into the left-hander. But now you can see as cars are coming through the field, we've now got Sainz behind us, as well as both Red Bulls of Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo, and it's Sainz on the left-hand side with DRS and probably a bit of engine mode to get past me there. We're going to take a look back down the inside. We want to try and push Sainz back down the field into Sergio Perez if possible, but I'm unsure where my teammate is at the moment. I think he's battling, or either appears to be one of the Williams or Valtteri Bottas. We defended, or we got back down the inside of Sainz through the chicane, and now Sainz is going to try and have a go around the outside of the left, right, left. Can he do it? No, we once again just squeeze him out of road, stop him from coming through, and that hampers his run and allows Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull to now move up into 5th position. At the end of lap 4, we're coming through. Ricciardo's just got an excellent drive out of that corner, and he's going to be up my inside into turn 1. There's very little I can do. It is a late apex. I've gone wide to try and carry the speed, but Ricciardo again just punched out of the corner better than I could. We try and go wide again because he was slow on apex through the long right-hander, just defend our position, and I think we were lucky, if I'm honest, to hold that position versus Ricciardo. He had so much more speed and acceleration on corner exit. Those hypersofts, even though they're probably nearing the end of their life, just goes to show the absolute chassis that the Red Bull has. The torque of the Renault engine clearly superior, even if its top end speed isn't, but nonetheless, Ricciardo now slipstream, DRS, probably a bit of engine mix and ERS down our inside. He holds the line though, doesn't cut across. Ricciardo, good racing etiquette. Initially I tried to sweep underneath him with the turning, but Ricciardo parked his car beautifully in the middle of the road. Nothing I could do against that. That's the Red Bull man up into 4th place and puts me back down into 5th. Thankfully, we get DRS, and we do have that superior top speed. As I said, we could have had a run, but we were just too far back versus Ricciardo that time around. So we're now down to 5th, and we're going to be defending that 5th place versus Carlos Sainz, or it is indeed Max Verstappen up to 6th place by the end of lap 6. Cars are in the pits to change off their Hypersoft and put on other tyres. Here goes Verstappen into turn 1. Is he going to make the move stick, similar to how Daniel Ricciardo is run out wide? And yes, Verstappen pulls it off a lot better than Ricciardo did, systematically and decisively through ahead of me. And you see the dirty air push my car out wide through the long right-hander. It's now Perez up behind me in 4th position, so he still hasn't made his pit stop this afternoon, and hopefully we're going to try and not cost him any time, because like I say, Perez appears to have got ahead of one of the Renaults. That could be Hülkenberg that's already made his stop. I'm untoo sure at the moment, but I'm just going to let Perez keep it. I'm using Rich to burn the fuel. No, it's Sainz behind us, and Sainz hasn't made his pit stop, but I'm just going to hold the line versus Perez. Not going to fight him, just going to let him through. He's running his own Grand Prix. Like I said, he needs to be the one to finish ahead of Nico Hülkenberg today. The problem is Hülkenberg was running 3rd as he started 3rd, whereas Perez started in the pack. So he probably gained a little bit of time over the end of that lap versus us and came into the pits at the end of lap 7 with Verstappen and Raikkonen. So Vettel now behind me, having already made his pit stop. He's on the ultra soft tyre. Split strategy from Ferrari. Raikkonen coming out after his first pit stop, and he is on another set of hyper soft. So clearly both still two-stopping, but their strategies very different, and we didn't even gain the lead. That goes to show the pace that Raikkonen had in the first 7 laps versus not only our harder tyres, but of course having the better car. So Vettel going to come past us. We hampered our acceleration by accelerating on the curve. Vettel's going to come past us there. Brendan Hartley still running strong up in 4th place. Remember, he was, right side by side with us going into turn 1 on the first lap. We're going to use a bit of slipstream versus Vettel. Are we going to ruin the Ferrari man's day, maybe? Thought about it briefly as he held the outside line, but no, it'd be pointless wasting time fighting Vettel. He's that much faster. By the end of lap 12, we're coming in for our first pit stop. Hülkenberg is now behind us, so that's now going to mean we were racing on the road, and we both have 1 pit stop left in this Grand Prix, as Hülkenberg is, of course, on the ultra soft, whereas we, in this pit stop, are going to be fitting the super soft compound tyre to run to the end of the Grand Prix. So we need a good stop here by the Force India mechanics, if at all possible. That is a 2.6. That's relatively slow, considering what they have been able to do at some points this year. But now car streak passes, we're currently down to 12th, down to 15th, but that's Grosjean on the Hypers. There's Gasly on the Ultras through into 5th place. Leclerc came in the same lap as us, so he's going to run to the end of the Grand Prix, and Van Dorn gets ahead of us, clearly already having stopped once as he's on the Hypersoft tyre, and he's just going to squeak past us on the right-hand side, but we've got the inside into the chicane. Van Dorn turns in. He's still there on our right-hand side. Van Dorn still trying to prove his worth in Formula 1, but we decisively got through against him there. But can he maybe get a better exit on those Hypersoft tyres? Bit of slipstream and DRS, and he could be a threat to us into the chicane, but no, it didn't happen. We now move on to lap 15 as we've been pushing, and we've got Alonso, Gasly and Grosjean all battling up ahead of me, and that is of course costing them all time and pushing them back into me. And just up the road there we've got a Williams by the looks of things in 11th, so we're on the tail end of points. Hopefully these guys are going to be stopping again at some point in the near future, because that way I'll be able to actually get through this field a little bit easier, as Gasly looked very slow into the chicane there. I might have been able to make a move down the inside, but thankfully he just sort of turned in, and I realised that early before a monumental accident. That said, we have got a bit of rich mix and DRS versus Gasly, but it looks like we're just going to be too far back going into the left, right, left section in Sector 3. Gasly leaves the door open, and nearly, oh so nearly was there contact between the Toro Rosso and the Force India, but he turned in. I just got the car slowed down. Looks like the Haas has got past Sergei Sorokin, who was doing the slowdown, and he's now going to be continuing to push Alonso and Gasly back into me. But the problem is this car, this Force India, has such superior top speed, but out of corners, it's not brilliant, and that's costing me time here. So Alonso dives in, and a lot of other cars are diving in for their second pit stop of the Grand Prix. That looks like it includes Sergio Perez now, as they're fitting their tyres to go to the end of the race. We're up to 9th. Gasly into 8th, Sorokin up to 7th. Perez looks like he's going to come out ahead of that train behind. Yes, he has. So Perez on a fresh set of ultra soft tyres comes out in 10th. But it does look like, though, that Sergei Sorokin up the road, there's a big old gap to the next car. So I don't quite know how that's gonna work out as Gasly with his Honda power surges past Sirotkin, and on the brakes, look how much we close up versus them, and Gasly just holds it on the inside. Beautiful move by Gasly's AI versus the Williams of Sirotkin there. So we're going to punch our way out of the corner. Can we look to get some momentum on there? But Sirotkin up against Gasly again with his Mercedes power unit and his DRS. I've purposely gone wide to try and make a move, but going over the curb unsettled the car, meant I couldn't slow it down. But look at how slow Gasly and Sirotkin battling is making them go, and if I was just able to get a bit of acceleration, I'd be able to throw this car down the inside of one of them and then hopefully be able to get the other one. So we move on now to lap 17, and finally Sirotkin peels into the pits for his final stop of the race. More cars are in the pit lane. Looks like a Mercedes, a Red Bull, a Renault and a Haas. So how's this going to work out? Perez just lunges it down my inside. Credit where credit's due. I'm absolutely fine with that. Is he going to come out ahead of Nico Hülkenberg? Answer is no. Unfortunately not. Perez comes out just behind Hülkenberg. And Hülkenberg, come lap 18, has got himself ahead of the Toro Rosso of Gasly, and he's put that car between himself and Perez for the driver's title. Perez fighting tooth and nail to get past Pierre Gasly, and you know what? He's just about done it through the left-right-left section, and then the outside of the 90-degree left-hander. Can we follow Perez's suit and get past Pierre Gasly? No, we can't through the next right-hander. We just needed someone to hamper his momentum, and we might be able to get him. So let's follow him as close as we can for the remainder of this lap. We're so close to the back of the Toro Rosso. Even though we're a compound harder on the tyres, it shows that just the pace of our car. And Gasly peels into the pits. So Gasly had another pit stop left to make in this Grand Prix, and that has put him behind us. We're now up into 7th place, and we've now got Valtteri Bottas, who's obviously still on his recovery drive, but hasn't recovered as quick as I expected, battling us now on lap 19. He's held it very nicely through the chicane against us. Initially, obviously, pinched himself on the second part, but then on acceleration, he's definitely going to pull ahead of us there. We're going to duck into the slipstream of Valtteri Bottas. Are we going to be able to make a move on the Mercedes man? Unfortunately not. He just sort of stuck it there, and it stuck, really. And it looks as if Hülkenberg has been pulling a gap to Sergio Perez. Even though Perez has been on a charge, his undercut just unfortunately wasn't successful. And my pace dropped off at the tail end of this Grand Prix. These super soft tyres, after they got a bit of wear, stopped working for me. Man, they were working for, though, with Charles Leclerc up in 9th place. Same strategy as me, and he's having a go round the outside of the chicane. At the end of the main straight, we just brake late and stopped Leclerc coming back on us, and then we had to obviously viciously turn left to stop him from perhaps swinging around and diving down the inside. But Leclerc, a couple of laps later, still going to have a go. He's in our slipstream. Is he going to pull to the outside for the next corner? Yes, he is. But we've got Magnussen behind me as well in the Haas, and he's now going to battle Perez. So this is now a 3-man scrap for 8th place by the looks of things. And by lap 26, Magnussen has made his way through on the Alfa Romeo Sauber, and he, on fresher ultra soft tyres, is now going to try and have a go at me. His car is a little bit better than Sauber in the aero department. Similar sort of engine though, and he's going to try and have a go right on the outside, going into sector 3. We were literally a dead heat across the split, nothing between us, but we kept the move, and we kept Magnussen behind us, but just the grip in the tyres was fading away, and I'm having to defend on the straights and brake slipstream versus the Haas driver as he goes once again to the outside. Anyone with a Mercedes engine would have realistically breezed past me. I don't understand why my car, even in rich and high, was just unresponsive on acceleration. Probably a combination of tyres and the wear and some of the downforce that I was running. But Magnussen now has another run out of the second chicane. We pull across. Magnussen going to have to go to the outside. Is he going to make the move stick? He's pulled quite a way ahead of us. We're very late on the brakes, just about get it slowed down. Magnussen tries to switch back underneath the around the round the outside of the middle part of the chicane, but no, not able to get through, and it was still scrapping tooth and nail for the rest of the lap. But Raikkonen has won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We're going to come around the final corner, cross the line for 8th place once again at the end of season 1.
We've had a very strong season this year, very strong indeed. Well done, and thank you on behalf of the team for a fantastic effort.
There were questions at the start of the season as to whether this package could really go all the way. But there's no question anymore. What a special year it's been. And here they are now, the new Formula One World Drivers' Champion.
That new animation in the garage was pretty cool, I like that. But Kimi Räikkönen won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, 2.8 seconds ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Hamilton a further 26 seconds back in 3rd place there, coming from 11th on the grid. Then Ricciardo in 4th. Hulkenberg got 5th place, just over 3 seconds ahead of Perez. So that means Hulkenberg does beat Perez to 8th place in the Drivers' World Championship there. But that upgrade that Renault Port was the difference maker this weekend. But Perez was just so on the pace. It was... He finished over 27 seconds ahead of me, even doing an additional pit stop. Perez was on the pace. Then came Bottas from 15th through to 7th. We dropped from 5th to 8th, but I think that was honestly the best we could achieve this weekend. Magnussen from 14th through to 9th, getting points for Haas after their upgrade. His poor qualifying showing that he still had the race pace over Grosjean, but I suppose Grosjean did start further back. And Leclerc in the final race of his rookie season, grabbing another point for Sauber there, with Verstappen really dropping back through the field down to P11. He had some really strong pace earlier on, and Stroll coming up from 20th through to 12th is actually quite nice to see for my old teammate just there. Williams still showing they have a small amount of performance left, and then we've got Hartley, Sirotkin, Sainz, Gasly, Ericsson, Alonso and Van Dorn. Everyone finishing on the lead lap, believe it or not. So that was actually quite the surprise. As it comes to the drivers' standings there, Vettel wins the Drivers' World Championship by 25 points versus Lewis Hamilton. It was must-win for Hamilton, essentially, this weekend. And due, of course, to his engine penalties, that wasn't the case, whereas Ferrari were bulletproof. 340 points to 315. Good to see a title go down to the wire. And Ricciardo actually overtakes Bottas in the final round to get P4 there in the Drivers' Championship. Big result for Daniel Ricciardo there. And you can see Hulkenberg beating Perez by the measliest of margins of 2 World Championship points. But Perez will come back strong, and the Force India will come back strong, and we will renew this rivalry next season. Initially, first of all, it was myself and Hulkenberg, then Perez and Hulkenberg, with Grosjean coming home P10, Sainz P11, 51 points, Gasly with 36. Good year for Gasly in the Toro Rosso, 36 points, and there we solidify the 4th place there with 225 points to Renault's 161. Sainz, unfortunately, just not on the level of Hulkenberg this season, and every constructor scoring points and emphatic points as well. You know, McLaren with a good 23 points. Obviously nothing really compared to real life, where Alonso is just smashing it. Even if he's absolute dog of a McLaren, he's got 50 points this year. Sauber with 14 points, but everyone getting points, and that's what we like to see. You know, some midfield battles in Formula 1, but Ferrari do win the Constructors' Championship there. As we move on to the final sort of pages for career mode, we are losing the rivalry with Perez, so that will go on to the start of Season 2, and we're currently losing by 5 points to Nico Hulkenberg. Let's have a quick look at the resource points, what we accrue for our first driver bonus, any kind of team targets, and of course the end of season, and then we're going to go on and have a quick chat with Emma.
Nice job this season. You've been performing well, and that's putting us in a strong negotiating position contract-wise. Plus, my 10%'s getting more valuable. So enjoy your break, and keep up the good work next year.
Oh, well, thank you very much. So we now come on again to the contract proposal. This is what I've sort of proposed. 14th in qualifying, 9th for the race. I want the first driver in the easy team goal, but I'm going with level 3 race bonus, level 2 simultaneous development, level 2 upgrade speed, and level 2 pit stop efficiency. So I've upped the race bonus and the pit stop efficiency for my end of year contract. Let's see.
They aren't coming round to that proposal. Let's try something else.
Okay, I was perhaps pushing it a little bit. So we're going to just have a quick look. Expected qualifying position, I'm going to bump that up to at least 12th. I feel as if I can get that. Level 2 on the race bonus. Let's see what they say with that.
Okay, that proposal looks good. It seems all parties are happy with the deal, so it'll commence at the next race weekend.
Little bit of room left to play with there, but I suppose, you know, you never really know what's going to happen until it actually offers it. Right, 5,164 resource points for Season 2. Let's get into a bit of a shopping spree. So we're immediately going to get a major front downforce and a major rear downforce package for aero. So that is over 2,000 spent already. We're then going to get a minor engine power upgrade. Now we're going to go over to the chassis. We're going to get a major weight reduction upgrade for the nose cone. And we're going to get a minor... looking at the minor tyre wear, 613 resource points. we could look at getting that. The other one was weight distribution, which I don't really tend to play with too much, so we're going to go for the tyre wear one. That leaves me 573 resource points to play with. Is there anything I can get over on the powertrain to bump us ahead of Williams? Unfortunately not. So let's take a look at durability. Gearbox was the one that was difficult. That cost me a lot in Monaco. That was a pain. It's final race, so we're going to get that durability upgrade. There you have it. 4 big old performance upgrade, 5 performance upgrades, and 1 durability upgrade, and that over on the right hand side is putting us above Renault and sort of very near to Mercedes territory on the old performance index. And you can see it there. Everything is due to arrive in Australia for the winter package, and I'm fairly confident this is going to be similar to last year's game in the aspect of it has a 0% failure chance. So we're looking good. We're looking strong going into the next season. I'm very confident and very happy with the way that this year has gone, the Season 1 of Career Mode. I hope you have enjoyed it. Here's going to be a quick overview of the end of season results. You see Australia, my debut for Williams was P10, Bahrain was P11. That's where we started, and then the results started coming. 8th in China, where that was our first sort of, opportunity to shine. 3rd in Azerbaijan in a completely mental Grand Prix. 5th in Spain through the excellent strategy that I did. Monaco, Canada. Canada was a wet and weird Grand Prix. The French Grand Prix, which I love, 7th. Austria, 5th. That was our debut for Force India, just really on the pace. Didn't finish the British Grand Prix. We were assassinated by Marcus Ericsson, but we were off the pace anyway. 6th in Germany on a massive late race charge. 7th in Hungary, even though the track didn't suit us. 4th in Belgium because the Mercedes were just having an absolute nightmare. The Italian Grand Prix didn't really go too well for us, so we got 8th place just there. And just what a season. We're going to flick through and have a look at some of the other results in a second there. But guys, I hope you have enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did, and comment any feedback down below. Remember to subscribe and enable them notifications to be kept up to date with the channel. I've been streaming a lot more recently. A bit of WWE and a bit of, this and that, as it were. But as an overview of the season, we started as second driver at Williams. We end it as first driver at Force India. Safe to say a solid season. As the Mercedes reserve driver, Simon Hull, a very solid season, I do believe. Looking at the rest of the results, 5th in Singapore, 9th in Russia, 5th in Japan, 7th in the USA, podium again in Mexico after fending off the Red Bulls, 7th in Brazil, and of course 8th, as you saw, in Abu Dhabi. I'll see you next time for Season 2. Hope you've enjoyed, guys. See you then.